My name is Luke Cunningham, and I'd like to talk to y'all today about the ever-changing, always swaying legacy of Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson is one of those truly unique historical characters. Now, it is not unique for historical characters and the legacy that they left behind to sway in the views of historians and common people. What is very interesting about Thomas Jefferson is just how violently his legacy sways depending on the interpretation. Thomas Jefferson has been deified by hagiographers, put up on a platform. He's been called things like the pen of the American Revolution, an ambassador of freedom. And by other historians, he's been criticized as somebody whose words do not correlate with his actions. Most people can agree that Thomas Jefferson was an extremely brilliant writer. What a lot of people seem to debate, though, is the man's personal character, and that's seen as a very important thing. People in America, as one of our readings stated this week, we love our great men. We're interested by their intimate details, their intimate lives, their character. It's important not only that they did great things, but that they were great people, and that's how we want to remember them. So we as historians, I love the imagery that we got from one of our readings this week. We as historians are the custodians of our civic culture. And that's a really great quote, and I love that quote. Heading into this talk, I kept on coming back to a Bible verse that I thought was very telling of the issue that a lot of people have when looking at the character of Thomas Jefferson. The Bible verse is 1 John 3:18 through 19, and it reads, "Dear children, let's not merely say that we love each other. Let us show the truth by our actions. Our actions will show that we belong to the truth. So we will be confident when we stand before God." And I love that quote, and I love that Bible verse because it speaks to the genuine nature that a true Christian would have, saying that your words should match your actions, and that seemingly is a big part of the debate about Thomas Jefferson. You talk about a man that wrote the Declaration of Independence and talked about how all men were created equal, and yet a man that owned slaves, that exploited slaves even more beyond what was customary for his time. You have a man that talks about religious freedom in the Virginia Statutes of Religious Freedom, and still widely debated on whether he was a Christian. A very, very interesting historical character. Now, historian James Parton had this quote about Thomas Jefferson, and again, I feel it's very telling of how we view Thomas Jefferson. James Parton said this. He said, "If Jefferson was wrong, America is wrong. If America is right, Jefferson was right." And I would almost counter that comment with the fact that maybe Thomas Jefferson and America were partly right and partly wrong. It does not have to be all one way or another, and a dynamic character like Thomas Jefferson rarely is. Thomas Jefferson was highly concerned with how he would be remembered, and it's very clear how he would have liked to have been remembered. He put it right there on his gravestone that you can find up at Monticello. The author of the Declaration of Independence, the author of the Virginia Statutes of Religious Freedom, and the founder of the University of Virginia. Unfortunately for Thomas Jefferson, he's not in control how historians portray him and write for the public masses to consume. That's their job to promote the truth. With every passing generation, it's harder to get a good view of who the man truly was. If there was ever a time when Thomas Jefferson could have been truly understood, it should have been his own time. And yet there's still highly debated how people, even during his own time, viewed him and wanted to promote his legacy. Historian Joseph Ellis, the author of The American Sphinx, speaks to some of this dynamic nature of Thomas Jefferson. He says he symbolized the most cherished and most contested values in modern American culture. Speaking to, the greatness of his writing and the ideals that he put forward, but, the depravity of some of his personal life. So he was both the best and the worst. You talk about people that have taken a more charitable view and gone a little lighter on criticizing the legacy of Thomas Jefferson. You have author Andrew Bernstein, the author of The Inner Jefferson, A Portrait of a Grieving Optimist of 1996. And he says that the search for a single definitive real Jefferson is a fool's errand. And I can't agree more. Thomas Jefferson was a dynamic character. His words, in some cases, seemingly did not always meet his actions. Thank y'all.